Anyway, so this morning this is the last of the series on lifeless, and so we're going to kind of go with that. But and we're talking about, we know what it is to be alive, but not really living. And so today, actually, I rarely do this, but the title today is Two Donkeys. Everybody say donkey. So two donkeys or two donkeys. Anybody ever been a donkey? Come on now, come on. I didn't hear nothing from this side. Here for other donkeys, yay. Okay. And so a few years ago, we had some friends, and this guy's wife was in the car wash, and she was finishing up, and she wanted to get like an air freshener or something, so she put her 2 quarters in the machine. You know how it works. You put them in, and you slide the thing out, and she changed her mind. So when she changed her mind, she wanted to get her quarters back. So you know that those things, that there's a little hole in the bottom, you can push it up to get your quarter back? Well, when she went to push it up to get her quarter back, she pushed her finger too far. And it went past the knuckle, and when she went to pull it out, she couldn't get her finger out. She was stuck in the machine at the car wash. And the harder she pulled, the worse it got, because it made her finger sore. When her finger got sore, it swelled up and made it just increasingly difficult. So her and her husband were trying to work and couldn't get her out, and so she was crying and screaming, and she's kind of a dramatic personality anyway. You guys know what I'm talking about? And so she made it loud and very overt, and just, like kicking and screaming, and, oh my God, it's going to be help, help, help. And this, well, somebody called 911 because her finger was stuck in the machine. Now, they didn't know that somebody called 911, but her husband figured it out when the fire truck pulled in with the sirens blaring and the lights going. The rescue truck pulled in right behind them. And as they pulled up, he walked off. This really happened. They pulled up and he's like, and she's screaming at him, screaming his name, and he does the perfect deaf husband imitation. How many husbands know what I'm talking about? Screaming your name like. So that day, my friend was a donkey. You guys get what I'm talking about, right? Okay, so like I said, today is Palm Sunday, and it's the first day of Holy Week. And now it's called Palm Sunday, just like the video kind of depicted, that people cut down palm branches and they threw them in the pathway as Jesus was coming into Jerusalem for the last time, as kind of the red carpet treatment, and they were hailing him as the long-awaited Messiah, or the one who was going to rescue God's people from oppression. These people were so overwhelmed, they felt absolutely no hope at all, so Jesus became their hope. We get that, we understand that. Now I realize that today we're not those people, but maybe we have the same kind of problems. Maybe people are struggling with anxiety or depression, or you're disappointed, or you're wrestling with defeat, or maybe there's heartbreak or that kind of stuff. So like them, these people were calling out, Hosanna. Everybody say Hosanna. Now that doesn't mean anything to us because we speak English, but what it means in the original language, it literally means save us now. And when we're going through crisis, isn't that the way that we pray? Nobody prays, God save me tomorrow. Nobody does that, right? So it's save us now. And so they were throwing the palm branches down on the road to kind of hailing the chosen one. Now some people say that the reason they use palms is because that's what was available. I think God is much more intentional about stuff. See, because there's things about the palm tree that we could really get a lot of encouragement for as God's people. Like I don't know if you've noticed, but even here at New Life, we use the palm tree quite a bit. Because we believe that we're an oasis in the desert of life, right? So did you know that when you take a load of yard waste and tree trimmings and that kind of stuff to the dump, did you know that they won't let you put palm leaves in it? Did you know that? And that's because they can't grind them up, because the palm leaf is thousands and thousands of tiny little strands that hold together so well they can't be separated. That's like us, right? Did you know that the palm tree's root system has no large roots, but there's thousands of tiny ones that are so tightly wound together that the palm trees never blow over? I mean, you'll go through it after a big storm, you'll see like all these trees blown over, but you'll never see a palm tree laying on the ground. It just doesn't happen, right? So it's impossible to knock them down with a strong wind, just like God's people, right? Did you know that the wood of the palm tree has no grain? It's all just one. So that it's able to bend in every storm, and the winds might come against it, but it doesn't break, just like God's people. Did you know that the growth of the palm tree only takes place at the top where it's closest to heaven? Just like God's people. You see what I'm saying? So the palm tree is not by accident. See, you and I, we were made to stick together, where we don't let stupid stuff mess us up, like the palm tree. See, you and I, we were made to work together, so that we're not knocked down by the storms of life. You and I, because of what we're part of, because that we're one, even though the winds of adversity will blow against us, we're not gonna snap in two because of who we are, what we're a part of. And did you know that we grow stronger the closer we get to Jesus? Maybe that's why the Psalms 92 verse 12 says, the righteous will flourish like a palm tree. So here it is, this palm tree thing. It's Palm Sunday, and so they threw those palm branches down and the road, and so from that story we learn a lot about Jesus, but I think we learn more about us. So we're kind of unpack that just a little bit. It's in John chapter 12 where the story kind of unfolds. And it says, this John chapter 12 verse 13, it says, they took palm branches and went out to meet him, shouting, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the King of Israel. That's important, King of Israel. He's the Messiah, okay? And Jesus found a young donkey. Everybody say donkey. Donkey. Don't say the other word, but donkey. Found a young donkey and sat upon him, as written. So the greatness of who he is comes riding in on a bed of palm branches, and so that's representative of the church. And he's sitting, he's being carried by a donkey. Now here's the deal. So sometimes we can lose sight of who's on top and who's beneath. We lose sight of that, right? And realizing that the cheers are not for the donkey. Come on now, you guys know the cheers are not for the donkey. Can you imagine him coming in, Jesus on top, and the people are cheering, the donkey's like, the cheers are not for the donkey, they're cheering for Jesus. See, sometimes we get it all messed up, right? And sometimes we get it really wrong. So see, here's the deal. When God is looking to do something significant in your life, he's not looking for superheroes. God most usually uses something as simple as a donkey. Any donkeys in the house? All right, now don't use that excuse. It's just a metaphor, right? So we could all admit from time to time we've been a donkey, right? Turn to somebody and just tell them, I know you've been a donkey. They fired right back, didn't they? It's hilarious, right? Okay, so here's the deal. So it's in Numbers chapter 22. There's a story about this guy, he's a prophet of God named Balaam, okay? Where God used one donkey to talk to another donkey. So here, I'm going to cut to the chase right now. Sometimes you got to listen to a donkey in order for you to not be such a donkey. Okay? All right, so it's in Numbers chapter 20, so the prophet Balaam, he got a really good offer to go do something that he knew he wasn't supposed to do. Anybody ever decided you're going to do something even though you knew you weren't supposed to do it? Because that's what donkeys do, right? I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I got a really good offer. I'm going to do it anyway, okay? And so while he's on his way to do what he knows that he's not supposed to do, God sends an angel with a sword. Now, you don't have to be super smart to figure out if there's an angel with a sword. This is not good news. Like, oh, he's on my side. You're so stupid. Okay? And so now the donkey that Balaam was riding saw the angel, but because Balaam had already decided, this is what I'm going to do, he's blinded by what he wants to do because he's a donkey. And he doesn't see the angel. So the donkey, not wanting to get Balaam killed, turns aside 3 times. And each time Balaam loses his temper and beats the donkey. So the first lesson is, just because things aren't going your way, please don't beat the donkey. Okay? You still with me? Okay, so after 3 times, now this is crazy. After 3 times, it says that God opened the mouth of the donkey to speak. People say, man, it must be great to speak for God. He spoke to a donkey, not a big deal. Right? How many of you guys know he speaks to donkeys all the time? They're probably sitting next to you. Okay? Like so the donkey refused to let Balaam get killed, so he couldn't see. So he beat him 3 times. So the donkey spoke to Balaam. So one donkey decided, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I don't care. So when the second donkey tried to help the first donkey beat the second donkey. I know you would never do that, unless you sometimes complain, unless you sometimes resist, or sometimes you argue even though you know you're wrong, or sometimes you rebel or resist. I know that you never beat the donkey, right? But God opened the mouth of the second donkey to speak to the first donkey. So when the first donkey saw what the second donkey saw, he finally realized, oh my gosh, right? So here's the donkey truth I want to dig out of this story. Anybody ready for a donkey truth? You'll be able to write this stuff down. It's great. So here's a donkey. Numbers chapter 22, verse 32. It says, the angel of the Lord asked him, why have you beaten your donkey these 3 times? So let me say, why are you beating the donkey when he's just trying to help? Now watch this. I have come here to oppose you. So why isn't this working? Maybe God doesn't want you to do that. Now watch it. This next phrase is huge. I've come to oppose you because your path is a reckless one before me. Your path is a reckless one. Now here's what happens. We already know this. What happens if you drive recklessly? You crash, right? And so here's what I'm saying. So sometimes our impatience is what causes us to live in a reckless way, right? So our frustration with the process and with the way things are going and the timing, sometimes that frustration causes the first donkey to beat the second donkey, right? So treating people in our little corner of the world with contempt, reckless living, right? And so Pastor Dave, what are you saying? Don't be the first donkey. Tell somebody, don't be the first donkey. I was waiting for you to say this. I'm going to just do it. Do it loud. Come on. Thank you so much. That's great. Okay. So the crowd that day, as Jesus was coming in Palm Sunday, they were cheering for Jesus, not the donkey. Now the second donkey realizes that they're cheering for Jesus. The first donkey still thinks they're cheering for him. Right? Okay? So these are the temptations to live recklessly when we're living in high places. So what are you saying? When things are going good, there's a special temptation that comes our direction to live recklessly. Am I getting through? I'm going to say this again. I want you to get this. When things are going good, there's a special temptation to live recklessly when things are going good in high places. Okay? So here it is, Matthew chapter 4. This is the last of the 3 temptations. Matthew chapter 4, verse 8 says, again, the devil took him up to a very high mountain. High places. And he showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. He said, all this I will give you, he said, if you will bow down and worship me. And Jesus said, away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. Okay, so the view from up here, that's what tempts us to want to avoid the struggles down there. I'm going to say it again. The view from up here when things are going good, when things are great, that's the temptation to avoid the struggles down there. So what are you saying? Well, I shouldn't have to do that because I'm up here, right? Why should I apologize because I'm up here? Am I getting through? You guys get it? Okay. Why should I have to clean this up again because I'm up here, right? So God wouldn't expect me to do that now because I'm up here. It shouldn't have to be this hard because I'm already up here, right? I don't think this is necessary because I'm up here. I don't like the way that it's going. I don't agree with what they said. I'm up here, right? Is all this really important? Because I'm up here. See, the devil, here's what the devil was offering: reward without sacrifice. The devil was offering reward without sacrifice. He always offers reward without sacrifice. That's the biggest temptation, okay? So reward without sacrifice is potential without character. Again, I would write that down. Reward without sacrifice, potential without character. See, guys, that's sometimes why giving is such a challenge. We want reward, but we don't have to sacrifice. God said, I'm not going to let you do that because I'm more concerned about your character than your cash. Right? Because, even if he lets you get there, you won't stay there very long. True story? See, opportunity won't take you where character can't keep you. Okay, so let's get down. So see, we're not waiting for him. We're waiting until we. See, people say, I'm waiting on God. No, you're not. No such thing. God's just waiting for you to get sick of being a donkey. Right? So it's not a question of endurance, it's a question of preparation. So don't be the first donkey. Right? So it's a temptation to compromise our values in order to get what we think has more value. Right? So, it always comes when things are going good. Always. Because we feel like we lose something. So, now I want to wrap this up by saying this, that the devil was tempting Jesus with something that already belonged to him. It simply wasn't time. The devil was tempting Jesus with what already belonged to him. It just wasn't time. Anybody ever had that happen? That's the temptation, right? So it's about time. So a short lesson, I'm going to wrap this up, a short lesson from Abraham about timing. Watch this. Story takes place in Genesis chapter 22. And so Abraham has finally got to the place where he lets go of all of his options, decides he's going to trust God no matter what. So he gets rid of his illegitimate son Ishmael, and he puts all of his confidence in his legitimate son Isaac. Now I want you to get this. See, the Muslim faith follows Ishmael because they consider him the legitimate son of Abraham, even though it was through compromise and through an affair. How many guys know that God is not going to bless an affair? Just thought I'd throw that out there, right? By the way, just in case you're talking with friends or whatever, that God won't give you somebody else's wife or somebody else's husband, just thought I'd throw that out there, right? It's not from God, okay? And so he's gotten rid of all of his options, decided, here's what I'm going to trust God. So he's in a high place. You guys get what I'm saying? When things are going, so man, I'm finally getting it right. Things are going good with God. Now things are going to get easier. You silly, silly man. Right? Okay, so he's very old. This is not likely never going to happen again. And so from that place, God asked him the impossible. So God tells Abraham, I want you to take your son, your only son, Isaac, and I want you to sacrifice him on a mountain that I will show you. People say, oh my God, who would do that? God did that with his son. I'll get back to that later. So when they get to the base of the mountain that God shows him, Abraham leaves the donkey behind. Tell somebody, let's leave the donkey behind. We'll just call him the first donkey. Let's leave the first donkey behind. Remember the one that beat the second donkey, right? Okay. All right, so while he and his young son Isaac, we're going to climb the mountain. We're going to go up here to meet God. You guys stay down here, right? And so we're going to do this together. So now Abraham offers us a hint into his faith that I think is very revealing. It's in verse 5. Because he says, okay, you guys stay here with the donkey. Who wants to stay with the donkey? I didn't think so, yeah. Okay. He said, you guys stay here with the donkey. Me and the boy, we're going to climb the mountain. Turn to somebody, tell them, we're going to climb the mountain. Okay. And then he says this. He lets you into his thinking. He said, and we will come back. He knows he's going to sacrifice his son. He's going to make his son a living sacrifice. You think, well, that's just crazy. But see, the culture Abraham was from, that was common. That culture that he was from, that was common. People would do that. They'd sacrifice their children. Now I got to admit, as a parent, there's days. How many parents know what I'm saying? Hey, let's do a living scripture. Let's try this out. See if God rescues you. But anyway, I'm just playing. But he said, we will come back. Okay. So now, even though Abraham knows what God is asking him to do, he still walks in faith. See, now get this. There's another phrase I want you guys to hang on to. Abraham is sure of the outcome, even though he has no idea about the process. See, that's faith. He's sure of the outcome, but he has no idea. Matter of fact, Hebrews chapter 11 tells us that Abraham thought God was going to raise him from the dead, right? Now, Isaac asked a lot of questions. Anybody got a lot of questions about the process? Abraham had no answers. All he said was, God will provide for himself. See, if God is leading, God provides. If God is directing, he opens those doors, right? Okay. So when they reached the top of the mountain, Abraham prepared an altar. This is huge. Abraham prepared a place to meet God. Have you prepared a place to meet God? If you've not prepared a place to meet God, you probably won't. Abraham prepared a place to meet God. He arranged the wood. Everybody say, get ready. Get ready. I prepared a place to meet God, and I got myself ready. And so then he laid Isaac on the altar and bound him up. We have to take action. God is not going to move with you sitting there like a slug. Take action. And when Abraham raised a knife, that's when God spoke, and God said, Abraham, do your son no harm. And Abraham looked and he saw a ram caught in the bushes. And he took that ram and offered him as a sacrifice. So God flipped the plan. No, God did not flip the plan. God already had it planned. You just couldn't see it. Because here's what it says in Genesis chapter 22, verse 13. God provided his own sacrifice. God's plan is already in place. You are just unaware. The angel is already in the pathway. You just can't see him. The sword is in front of you. You're just on a mission and you don't even think about it. See, the whole time that Abraham and Isaac were climbing that mountain, God was sending the ram up at the same time. The whole time you're going through stuff and you don't understand the process, you don't understand why this takes so long, you don't understand why this is hard, what you don't know is on the other side of the mountain, God's sending the answer all the way up. So what am I saying? Keep climbing, my friend. Keep climbing. You'll get there if you don't give up. Now watch this. What if Abraham would have just simply hurried through? The ram would not have been there. What if Abraham would have said, it doesn't matter what mountain, just pick one? The ram would not have been there. What if Abraham said, you know what, let's just get this over with? The ram wouldn't have been there. See, timing. Where God leads, he provides. So, Pastor, what are you saying? Don't be the first donkey. Okay, because the first donkey beat the second donkey. Turn to somebody and tell them, don't be the first donkey. You get that, Brandon? Okay, you get that? I just want to make sure you're listening. You know what? I've done a little mountain climbing over the years. For real. For real. I didn't borrow this stuff. This is mine. Now, it's been a while since I've used it. Because right now I'm working on longevity and not endurance. So this mountain climbing equipment, there's carabiners, not beaners, carabiners. There's locking carabiners, and that's not putting a Mexican in jail. I know that that's wrong. I'm that way. And this is the belay device. When you see the guys rappel, this is the device that keeps them from falling off the mountain. And then there's this harness that you wrap this up and you put it around your body because that's what keeps you from sliding down the rock face and killing yourself. And so this equipment is designed to keep you from falling. When you're climbing the mountain, when God is directing you, he's taking you to a mountain and he's getting you ready. He's doing things in your life. You might not understand the process, but understand this, my friend. God has designed a system to keep you from falling. And that system here at New Life, that's why we want you to get involved in a serving team, because the serving team keeps you from falling. That's why we want you to get connected to a small group, because your small group is going to keep you from falling. That's why we want you to engage in spiritual practices like giving and personal study and prayer time, because those are the things that keep you from falling. That's why we want you to come to church like more than every once in a great while, because it keeps you from falling. See, God has equipped you with this kind of stuff. Now get this. You can climb the mountain without this. But if you slip, you'll fall. But this isn't the most important piece of equipment. This is what's important. Everybody say the rope. This isn't just rope. This is climbing rope. So just in case you're wondering, this is about $220 worth of rope. For sure. This is a little bit over $2 a linear foot. This much is $2. Like, dang, that's expensive rope. You know why it's expensive rope? Because this is a life-saving rope. Now, if you want to get some twine and climb the mountain, you say, hey, got this, man. No problem. I got the other stuff. See, here's what's cool about this rope. This rope simply is not designed to hold the weight. This rope is designed to be strong enough to catch you when you fall. Okay? Because when you fall, you know that you fall harder than you weigh. Right? How many of you guys know that when you fall harder than you weigh? Anybody ever made a mistake? You fall harder than you weigh. You're going pretty good, and when you fall, you guys probably don't even know this yet, but when you fall, it hurts. Right? How many of you guys know when you fall, it hurts? That's why I think God created babies to be short, because they're closer to the ground. But the best part about this rope is designed to give about 15%. So when you fall, it stretches about 15% to slow you down. You know why? Because if you fall and the rope just simply catches you, it will break every bone in your body. You won't hit the ground, but you'll die. You'll just kind of lay there on the rope. This is grace. This is grace. See, this is designed, the spiritual practices, the coming to church, the giving, the small groups, this is designed to keep you from falling. But if you happen to fall, I'm telling you, grace is there to catch you if you do fall. And grace is there to slow your descent so you won't be crushed in the process. So I'm telling you today, I don't want you to be the first donkey, but I know that you will. Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. You guys know. So what's the bottom line? We're people of grace. So climb the mountain. Don't stop. Hang in there. You might not understand. You say, I don't understand why this is taking so long. I don't understand why this is so hard. I don't understand. I'm doing really good. Why aren't things changing? Keep climbing the mountain. Because God has it in front of you, and sometimes you might have to walk through a valley, but don't avoid the valley. Let God keep doing what God can do. If you climb that mountain, He's put a system around you to keep you from falling, and there's grace right there to catch you if you do. But if you stop climbing, my friend, you will never get to God's promise. Keep climbing. Don't be impatient with the process. Well, what do you mean, Pastor Dave? Don't be the first donkey. So listen. Don't rush the process. Don't rush it. Don't get frustrated when things aren't moving forward. Don't respond out of emotion. And don't let your high places keep you from walking through the valleys that God has designed for you. So, for those here today that are struggling with disappointment, defeat, discouragement, struggling with hurt or anger, heartbreak, depression and anxiety, Can I encourage you to climb that mountain? The only way we can overcome overwhelming emotions is with the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. You get it? So if you're dealing with those negative emotions, if you're dealing with depression, anxiety, and it's eating your lunch, here's what I'm saying. Lean on that overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. So don't live recklessly. Let God's reckless love rescue you. You get what I'm saying today? Grace is here to catch you. Can I get you to bow your heads and close your eyes for just a moment, please? You're sitting in this room today. And nobody knows it, but anxiety wakes you up every morning, keeps you up at night. Depression always seems to show up before the day is done. You're disappointed with the results. You feel defeated in your life. You're struggling with all these negative things. And you feel like it's trying to destroy you. If that's where you're at today, we don't want you to stand up. We don't want you to come to the front, nothing like that. We just want to pray for you. So if this is describing where you're at right now, could you just show me your hand real quick and say, it's me, Pastor Dave. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Here's how it works sometimes with me. I'm normally a very energetic, happy kind of guy. But I have seasons where life just seems to suck. And I don't understand. I get frustrated and I get a little depressed and down on myself. And I need that overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God to rescue me. If you're like me and you're struggling with the same thing, just show me hands. Pastor Dave, that is just so me right now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Could I get you all stand, please? Don't be the first donkey. Just because you don't understand, just because you can't see it, just because it's not going at the speed you think it should go, don't beat your donkey. Because God's trying to help you. Got that? And if you're overwhelmed by those emotions, I'm encouraging you to be overwhelmed by God's love. It's a swap. See, there's a culture that tries to convince all of us that anxiety or depression or defeat or discouragement is a dysfunction. Friends, that's not a dysfunction. It's a battle. It's a spiritual battle in your life. Don't surrender to dysfunction. You incorporate the angelic host to come and fight on your behalf. Say, you know what? I will not be defeated. I won't be discouraged. I'm not going to let anxiety take me over. I'm not going to be slave to depression. I am a blood-bought, born-again, living child of God. Keep climbing that mountain. And know that even if you fall, grace is there to catch you. Okay? Come on, Pastor Robert, finish it up.